Hi, I'm Rebecca Amber Clark. Welcome to part 6 of my tutorial, Directing Your First Voiceover Project. So far, I've talked about holding auditions, casting, and giving voice direction. For this final video, that just leaves finishing the project. If everything goes smoothly, you should have no trouble getting all the recorded voice files you need from your cast, on or before the deadline you set. But it doesn't always play out that way. Sometimes voice actors are late, or never send their lines in at all. Sometimes it seems like they dropped off the face of the earth, and even stop responding to emails and messages altogether.
Hey there, I've gotten the recorded voice files for everybody else's lines, so now I just need yours. Do you know when you could get them to me?
Yeah, sorry. I've been busy with school. I'll send them to you by the day after tomorrow.
Okay, cool. Hi, I was just checking to see if you had time to record those lines for me yet. Didn't see them in my email.
Oh, sorry. I totally forgot. I'll get those recorded right away. Probably this weekend.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Hi. Sorry it took me so long. Here are my lines. Hope they sound all right.
Oh, sorry. I already cast the role to someone else.
What? Why didn't you tell me?
When voice actors miss deadlines, there are a few common excuses given that, in my opinion, are not really valid reasons. I forgot and I was busy top the list. Now, we're all only human, and sometimes someone does just plain forget. Also, unexpected things can come up in life, meaning people are too busy to follow through on something they thought they'd have time for. But if someone keeps forgetting, it's usually a symptom of poor organizational skills. Likewise, if someone is busy with other responsibilities they already knew about, then they're committing to more promises than they can keep. Even if someone is doing your project for fun without being paid and has other paid voice work on their plate, that's still not an excuse. Of course, work of any type takes priority over a hobby, but if someone is a professional voice actor, then they should know how much time they usually have available for their hobby projects and should not promise to do something they really don't have time for. It's not okay for voice actors to string you along. They either want to do your project and have the time for it, or they don't. Simple as that. So is there ever a good reason for missing deadlines? When someone agrees to do something for you and then doesn't follow through, it's frustrating and can lead you to jump to the conclusion that the only possible reason is that they simply don't care. I'll be honest, this does happen sometimes. I firmly believe that that sort of laziness and dodging responsibility for no good reason shouldn't be tolerated. But there are also some very good reasons why someone might not be able to record their lines on time, or even at all. For example, a voice actor or a member of their family might get seriously sick or injured and have to go to the hospital. Maybe a beloved family pet just died, and they just can't bring themselves to work on voice acting while they're grieving. If someone loses their job unexpectedly, it's not only scary, but will probably take up all their free time job hunting until they can find another position. If the voice actor is in an area that gets hit by a natural disaster like a hurricane or a large earthquake, they might not even have access to the internet to tell you they need to drop out of the project, let alone be able to record their lines. Or it could simply be that the voice actor caught a cold and sounds too sick to record their lines properly until they get well again. It's even possible that the voice actor did send you their lines, and the email either never reached you at all or landed in your spam folder. As I said, depending on the situation, a voice actor might not even be able to get in contact with you to ask for more time or let you know they need to drop out of the project altogether. However, if someone just has a cold and their fingers still work, They should be able to send you a quick email at the very least. So take it on a case-by-case basis and use your best judgment. It's completely okay to give someone some extra time if they really need it. But even if circumstances are really beyond the voice actor's control, it's important to remember that the show must go on. If you can't contact a voice actor at all, or they need too long an extension on their deadline, it's not fair to you or the rest of the cast. So, if you do need to recast one or more roles, how should you go about it? First of all, make sure that you keep your promises. You can't expect that from your cast of voice actors when you don't expect it of yourself. This means that if you told someone they had 1 week to record their lines, don't recast their role just because they didn't turn in their lines after 1 day when everyone else did. If you sent someone an email and said you'd wait 3 days to hear back from them before recasting their role, don't just recast it immediately anyway. It can be hard to wait out a deadline when you're so close to finishing a project, but it's not fair to say one thing and then do another. On the other hand, it can be hard to have to tell someone you're recasting their role to someone else. It can make you feel like a mean and awful person. So, having a procedure in place ahead of time can really help. Write it down and stick to it. Start with how long the original deadline is for your cast, then how long an extension you're willing to give at maximum if someone asks for more time. Plan to send emails within no more than 3 days after the deadline to any cast members who still haven't turned in their lines, and it's best if you can email them the very next day. Decide how long you'll give them to respond before you recast their roles. Don't forget to tell them this in your email when you follow up. Having rules for yourself about recasting might just help you feel less guilty. You're not recasting because you got mad, for example. You're recasting because that's how you decided you were going to run your project. And if you were upfront with your cast about your policies on recasting roles, then you're not doing this to anyone out of the blue, because you already told them what to expect if you don't receive their recordings on time. Another thing that can be really helpful is having form letters. Just write out what you want to say ahead of time and send it off to anyone who hasn't turned in their voice recordings by the deadline. If you don't want to write one yourself, feel free to use this one. I'll also put a copy in the video's description so you can copy-paste it easily. Hello. The deadline for everyone to turn in your voice files for this project was yesterday. I haven't gotten your files yet. If you sent them to me, they never reached my inbox, so you'll need to resend them. I hope everything's okay. If you need an extension, please let me know how much longer you need. I can give you until date if you need that long, but if you don't think you can record by then, I'll need to find someone else to take over your role. So please let me know ASAP. If I don't hear anything from you by date, I will have to recast your role the next day. Thank you, and I hope to hear from you soon. Signature. Not everyone checks their email every single day, so use your common sense when deciding how long to give people to respond to you. At minimum, you should allow 3 full days, and I would suggest no longer than a maximum of 7 days. As for extensions, that can vary based on the size of the project and how urgent it is to get done. You might give as much as 2 or 3 extra months on a really laid-back project with a lot of lines, or maybe only a week or 2 for a project that you're running a tighter ship for. In fact, you don't have to grant extensions at all, though it's pretty considerate to give someone more time if they have a good reason. Whether you use a form letter or not, it's important to be polite. Don't lose your head and start calling people irresponsible and lazy, for example, or accuse voice actors of being unprofessional or not caring about your project enough. For one thing, I've already gone over several good reasons why a voice actor might have missed their deadline. For another, it just makes you look bad. On the other hand, don't be a doormat. This is actually way harder than being polite. Do not apologize for checking up on someone who misses a deadline, or even for recasting someone. You're just doing your job. If you hear back from someone that they've got a problem keeping them from recording, it's totally fine to express sympathy, or even say sorry that they're going through something. But there's a difference between, "I'm sorry your mom's sick, I hope she gets better soon," and, "I'm sorry, I had to recast your role." Remember, be firm. If you really need to recast someone, do it. The rest of your cast worked hard. They shouldn't have to wait for the project's completion without a good reason. Finally, whatever you do not go back and give the role back to the original voice actor after you've recast it to someone else. That role now belongs to the new voice actor, and it's not fair to punish them when they did nothing wrong. If your original voice actor is worth their salt, they will understand this. The only possible exception to this is if the new voice actor fails to follow through on recording for any reason. If you have to recast a second time, and your original voice actor is available now, then you can absolutely give the role back to them. But be careful to use your best judgment, and only do this if they had a good reason for missing their deadline the first time around. When it comes time to actually choose a replacement voice actor for a role, you have a few options where to look. One good place to start is with the rest of your cast. People who have already turned in voice files to you once have proven that they're reliable, so you can expect them to do it again. Or you can offer a role to one of the people whose auditions you originally rejected. This is where sending polite rejections earlier pays off. People are more likely to feel like helping you out now if you were nice to them before. If all else fails, you can even start over from scratch and hold auditions again for any roles that still haven't been recorded. If the project release date will be delayed, you should let your cast know. First of all, assure your cast that you're working on the problem, and the project will be finished. A surprising number of projects get tossed aside and forgotten about, so let the cast know this isn't the case. If possible, give a new date or estimate for when you'll be able to complete the project, so voice actors know when to expect to see it. Remember, this is not your cast's fault, so don't vent or rant at them. Take a deep breath and make sure you're being polite. Recasting a role is between you and the voice actor in question. There's no need for public name smearing. You don't have to point fingers at a particular voice actor or actors, or tell everyone else that they were irresponsible or rude. You can just explain that you need to recast one, a few, or several roles, and leave it at that. Whether you're paying your voice cast or not, you should always credit them for their work. So make sure you ask each cast member what name they'd like to be credited with. If you plan on having credits spoken aloud, as I've done for the little skits in this tutorial, and as is common with radio plays, then double-check any pronunciations you're not sure of. You can even ask voice actors to send you voice clips of themselves saying their own names as they wish to be credited. Don't forget to notify your cast when the project is finished, and either send them the link, a copy of the finished project, or both, depending on what it is. A lot of directors forget this step, but to a voice actor, it's a great feeling to see and hear yourself in a finished project. That feeling is the reason many of us became voice actors to begin with. Thanks to the voice talents of Dani Grunig as the director, and Nick Bean as the voice actor. If you have any questions about directing voiceover projects that I didn't cover, please leave your question in a comment below the video, and I'll do my best to answer what I can. If you missed any of the earlier parts of this tutorial, just click one of the links in the video or in the description to go back and watch them. Thank you so much for watching. Now go out there and direct your first project.